All right, so what is a HUD home? When you're looking through the MLS, you're going to see the agent remarks. It's going to say HUD Homes, see agent remarks for details. In those agent remarks, it's going to have the property's availability date, which should coincide with the listing date. It's also going to have a link to blbresources.com. In blbresources.com, you will find everything you can imagine. You'll find every piece of paperwork you're going to need to make an offer, to turn on the utilities, to cancel a bid. Everything that you can imagine is in blbresources.com. Agent resources, go to our state, obviously New Jersey, and then you'll come down here. Up top here, you're going to have their address, where our region's office is. It's out in Michigan. Toll-free number. Somebody's going to be there from 8 to 5 Eastern time. The great news about that is normally is a person answering the phone. You're not going to get an automated message and have to sit on hold for hours and hours. It's going to be somebody that's going to ask you the case number. All the properties are referred to with a case number, usually beginning in 351. She's going to ask you for the case number, you're going to give it to her, and then you're going to let her know what your challenge is. She's going to direct you to the person that is directly handling that property, and they're going to give you a good answer and direct you in the right answer, the right direction to get what you need done. Down here, you're going to have all your forms. Owner-occupant contract package, investor contract package, good neighbor next door contract package. They're there, but the good news nowadays is we're e-signatures. So you can review it on here, but when the time comes for your client to sign the forms, it's going to be e-signatures. So you don't have to worry about printing it out, running it here, running it there, running it to FedEx or UPS and shipping it overnight. Also on here, you're going to have the cancellation request. If something comes up in home inspection that your buyer wasn't aware of, wasn't informed of, they can back out of the contract. Property condition report receipt addendum. A PCR is the short term for property condition report. If you pull up any property in HUD Home Store, you can either pull it up by the case number, or you can pull it up a little broader search by the county, or very broad, and you can do it by the whole state. So we'll pull up every HUD home available in Atlantic County at the time. And we have 2 pages of them, so that's actually a good bit of inventory right now for HUD homes in Atlantic County. We will pull up this guy right here, 2702 Cleveland Avenue. All right, up at the top you have the case number. You have eligible bidders, all bidders. When the property first comes out on the market, it's going to be owner-occupant. Once that time period elapses, it's going to go to all bidders. Bid submission deadline. They review each bid each day at midnight. That gives you a countdown to midnight. If there's a property that is, let's pull up one that is in the owner-occupant period. Exclusive right here. All right, this one is exclusive. That means it is eligible to owner-occupants, nonprofits, government agencies. It gives you a deadline. They're going to review bids February 25th at midnight, and it gives you a clock. So you know when they're going to be doing that. Down here it gives you all your information about bedrooms, bathrooms, square footage of the house, 1,876 year built, number of stories. Amenities, usually pretty blank. Addendums, this is where everything's on here. Right here, the disclosure, the PCR, property condition report. This will give you an idea of what is going on with the house and give you an idea, what kind of what you're walking into before you walk into it. As we're running slow.
You have a clientele base that's always looking for the HUD homes, they contact you? Is that?
A lot of them, you know, they make it so my signs, have you ever seen my signs in the window? It says, HUD Home, contact any realtor. So, you know, as much as I can brand it with the yard sign, I try, but if somebody's peeking in the windows, they see they can contact any broker. So I get some people looking for the inside scoop, but the way that HUD has it set up is I don't get any more information than what is available on here. Believe it or not, the house is listed on HUD Home Store before I listed in the MLS. When the offers come in, they come in through HUD Home Store. I'm not aware of how many offers, what the offers are on the property. When the bid submission time is up, I'll get an email the next morning if they've selected a bid. If they haven't, then it opens up to all bids. But they have me pretty much out of the loop, so you know I can't provide any inside information.
But you're subject to getting the commission on the sale?
Yes, on the sell side.
Because they handed over to you representing the HUD, okay.
Can you make a bid when it's still owner occupied, even though, can you make a bid?
If you're an investor?
Yes.
No.
So you have to wait until that time?
You have to wait till that time. You can't put it in there as like a backup offer.
Okay.
When you go to submit your bid, it'll actually be in there owner occupant, and there'll be no way to change it to investor. In here, now this is the PCR property condition report we're looking at. Repair plumbing system. It did not hold pressure. So right off the bat, before you go to the property, you know that there's some sort of damage with the pipes. You need to inform your client that they're not going to be able to turn the water on because
right.
you're going to have Niagara Falls in the house. Other, repair windows, install CO and smoke detectors. So all in all, it's not too bad of a property.
Tom, do you accept generally the, when it says this is not located in a flood zone, do you accept that, the initial
Yes.
comment? You generally accept that you don't go
Yeah.
the extra mile, but...
Yeah, you have a good idea. Never seen them. There we go. Yeah, you'll know when you're in the flood zone. Like you'll have a good idea looking around you that you're somewhere that requires the flood insurance. Okay, the PCR, property condition report. They go through all the checks. And you have okay, plumbing damage, pressure test failed, water heater, you know, inspected. Can't read that. I'll read this. Inspected hot water heater components passed, no deficiencies found. Roof, inspected peaks, valleys, passed with no deficiencies found. If something pops up, they'll put it on there. And this is available to anybody. This isn't just my portal, this is open to anybody that's interested in the home. So if you ever find a HUD home on the MLS, the best thing you can do is go to HUD Home Store, pull this up so you know what you're getting into. If you have a client that is going FHA, need to move in, they don't want a project, they don't want to do anything, this is a good way to figure out which properties you should and should not be shown. Also, on the MLS, we do not always have when it is in the owner-occupant period. For some reason, there's not a place for us to put it. So if you pull up any HUD home in the MLS, the best thing you can do is go to the HUD Home Store, extended, exclusive. Now the difference between these two, extended is open to all bidders. You can have investors come. Exclusive is still owner-occupant period. So before you take an investor out to look at an exclusive home, more than likely the investor's going to love the home. It always happens that way. Always love what you can't have. Come and look and make sure that you're showing the right property. You know, you can show an investor a home open. You know, you can show him the home, he just can't bid on it. So when the time comes, he can bid that first day, just so he's prepared. What else is on here? New listing, it'll say reduced, but it gives you an idea of what's out there. It's a nice house.
It'll say reduced?
Yep, it'll say reduced. Let's look at this guy here. Now right here, you're gonna have insured with escrow. Insured with escrow is a home that doesn't need too much work. If you ever have a home that says UI, uninsured, that's a home that needs a good bit of work. You know you're walking into a project. If you ever have it says IM, that's insured. That means the home is pretty much turnkey. You can get in there without too much work getting done. Again, on here you have your square footage, year built, total rooms, bedrooms, baths, listing date. You know, pretty much everything that you need is on here.
What's the difference between insured home and IM? Is it
IM.
IM?
IN, insured with escrow, means that the home needs some work to bring it up to, say, like FHA compatibility. A good bit of homes here. This is what they show for reduced. Your little arrow going down. But you always hear the stories about, you know, I don't want to show the foreclosure, you know, you don't make money showing the foreclosure, you don't do this, you don't do that. Here's an example. This house is listed for $205,000. It's a 2,500 square foot home, built in 1989 with an in-ground pool. So as much as you might find some homes that need work, that are, you know, a mess, you know, you also have homes that are out there that are $200,000, you know, which is well above our price range in Atlantic County. So don't let people sit there and say, oh, you can't make any money selling HUD homes.
On that particular home, it had IN, which means it's
Insured, yep.
it's
insured.
ready, it's
Pretty much turnkey.
doesn't need much work.
Correct. Yeah. And then on here also you have as many pictures, you have 20 pictures on here. So you can go through and these are not always the same pictures that are on the MLS. The agent might have, you know, different, nice floor, might have different pictures in the MLS. With all my properties, I have usually 10 more pictures in the MLS than they have in the HUD Home Store. I also have a virtual tour.
So in this guy here, they have a list price of $205. So is it possible to go, I'll just throw out a number, is it possible to go in with a bid of $190 and they would take it?
That is possible, yeah. Now, what you do when you submit a bid, you always check on it. They don't always get back to you because if they reject a bid, when you go into your portal and you click on your bids, your current bids, it'll say bid canceled. That doesn't mean they just said, I'm not looking at it. Bid cancel means they rejected your bid.
Okay.
You won't get an email saying
You're rejected.
You're rejected. So once you submit an offer, you know, the next day or two, keep checking back. It says bid canceled, and you don't get an email from BLB saying this is what we want. You know, sometimes BLB will counter. What you'll do is you'll move your bid up. Maybe move your bid up $1,500, $2,000, depending on what it is, and depending if your client's willing, and submit that. So when you do that, you know, it makes them look at it again, and then same thing, keep looking. If it says bid canceled, then, you know, you got to move your bid up some. But at a certain point, you'll probably hit a threshold where BLB will contact you and say, this is what we would like to net. That's always what they'll do. They'll put a net. So you have to work backwards. You have to have your commission in there. If your buyer is getting closing costs in there, you have to work backwards from that also.
Right.
So it's not It's not difficult, you just gotta remember it's net.
Okay, so that's your net number, and then you want to put your commission and closing costs if necessary.
Correct.
Okay.
About 3% closing costs?
3%'s the max that they'll do.
Oh, for them to pay the closing costs?
Yep. But that also is triggered in with your bid.
Yeah.
So if it's a popular property, I mean, we'll all know if it's a popular property. I mean, when we're going through the MLS, we'll see a house and we'll be like, wow, that's a great price. If you're not sure, call the agent. Agent obviously can't tell you how many offers they have because he doesn't know. But he can tell you if it's a popular property getting shown a lot. If they do, what I would do, if my client's very interested in the property, if they need closing costs, if they need the 3% closing cost, I would add that on top of the list price. So you would offer, say it's $100,000, I would offer 103. So once you
Right.
take their closing costs off, you're still at 100.
So how do you figure your commission is 3%?
Commission's 3%. You can change your commission
Okay.
if it's
Do or die.
yeah. It depends how much you like your client. If it's say it's an investor that does a lot of work with you, that you're going to be getting the out sale, you might cut your commission some to make your deal more appealing net-wise to
Right.
to BLB and to HUD.
So if you have 205, you go in at 190, the 190 has to be, that's what they are looking for, 190.
No, well, that's if they counted it. That's if they counted their net, they want a net of 190.
They want a net of 190.
Yeah.
If they spell that out, which they will tell you.
Right. So you want, they want a net 190, and I want to put in your commission on top of that, 3% of 190, and if the guy needs help with the closing cost, so you're basically looking at 6% plus 190, and
Yeah.
that would be your bid.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's if you're working backwards. That's if they counted if this is what they want to net.
Okay. Okay.
On
So-
here.
So basically, these HUD homes are just, simple understanding. It's basically an FHA loan that went bad.
Correct. That's how it becomes a HUD home that they're selling.
So most of them are vacant, and
All the HUD homes will be vacant.
all right,
All the HUD homes will be vacant. They'll all have a lockbox on them. They'll all have a real estate agent like myself or preservation company that takes care of the home.
Right.
We have to visit the home twice a month to make sure nobody's squatting in the house, make sure that there's no leaks, make sure that the sump pump stopped working in the basement.
right. So you get on a list of the agent that's handling it, and then you would have this responsibility.
Yep.
Correct?
Yep.
Okay.
So every home you see that that the agent has, they have to visit twice a month to make sure that everything's okay with it.
And how do you become an agent for that? You sign up?
Yeah, you have to apply once they have the bid. They have not a bid. They have open submissions, and once they do, you submit through there. Now this house has a lot more wrong with it than the other house. Damaged eaves, exposed electrical and hot water tank, replaced electric meter, damaged outbuilding door, defective paint, damaged floor. So this guy's a headache. You come down here to the PCR. Stove, range, missing. It's pretty much list what's wrong. Now the one thing is, say you put this house under contract and your people have a home inspection.
Right.
Everybody's granted a home inspection for 14 days after the contract's ratified. So it's not like you're buying as is, you can't.
Right.
You are buying as is, but you're free to have a home inspection to make sure that nothing else is wrong with the home. If your people want to walk away from the deal, the home inspection, they can't cite something that is already disclosed on the PCR as a reason they're walking away. Because that's already disclosed to them.
Right.
So if your people go to cancel the contract and they say that we're walking away because there's electrical problem at the hot water tank, that's not a valid reason because it's already disclosed here. So always remember that. HUD's not in the business of stealing people's deposit money If it's a valid reason, if something new comes up, Hatter just had a deal. On here it says pressure test, pass. They turn the water on and they have a pool in the living room. Obviously, that's a reason to cancel the contract or get your deposit back because, supposedly it passed the pressure test, but obviously the pipes have deficiencies in them.
So they will help you if it's termites or lead paint, anything else here?
Lead paint they will, termite they will not.
Okay.
Termite they will not, lead-based paint they will. When you walk into the properties, most of them will not have electric. So, plan your showings accordingly. Some of them will have electric. And the sole purpose of that is it probably has a basement where there's a sump pump running.
Right.
Curious question, how, you get an accepted bid, you wanna go and do an inspection, how do you turn on all the utilities? I mean, who turns them on?
You'll turn them on. You'll schedule it with a company called BLM. What you do is you come to the BLB resources, come to the agent resources, all the way down at the bottom left here, you have FSM forms. FSM stands for Field Service Manager. That is the other people that maintain the property along with the agent. Click this guy here that says activation form, and your utility activation tool will pop up. You'll need your case number. Now this is BLM. BLM and BLMB are not connected, not the same company. Obviously right up at the top, please allow 2 business days for processing, and they can't be approved until the contract execution. They might send you an email saying we've accepted, all that kind of stuff. You need to wait till you have a ratified contract signed by everybody before you can activate these. Date, case number, street address, zip code, county, your buyer's information, and then your information. Broker's information, and then broker office number. Turn on date must be at least 3 business days from submission. Now, you can turn it on more than once, because if they're going FHA, they're going to have the appraiser have water and gas and electric running. So you'll have it turned on for the, what's that?
3 pretzels.
Wow.
They said to tell you they said hi.
Who was it?
Short title.
Oh.
Qu-
I like pretzels.
Who's turning it on? Is it BLM turning it on?
No,
Or
it
am I
is
turning it
your
on?
company. You are turning it on. Your buyer's calling the gas company and saying, we want to turn it on.
So the billing will be under their
Yep.
awning.
Now, what you will have a signed thing from BLB saying you have permission to turn it on. Every utility company is great about it, except South Jersey Gas.
Right.
South Jersey Gas will ask to speak to the owner of the home. The house is owned by the federal government, so I don't know who they want to talk to, that's the owner of the home. But as much as I've tried to streamline it and get one person to say, okay, call me at this number and we'll work through it. Bad thing to say is you gotta keep hanging up, calling, and you'll get somebody that say, okay, we'll turn it on. It might take one person, it might take 6 or 7 people. But unfortunately, that's just how South Jersey Gas is right now.
Where do you call Folsom?
Yeah, if you take the form to South Jersey Gas in Pleasantville, we've had tremendous amount of success doing that. But calling is an act of God.
Right.
So it's, I've tried to call and get just one person to give me a direct number that knows what's going on, but it doesn't work, so kind of at the mercy of whoever.
It's like calling Horizon Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah.
You never-
Two questions come to mind. I've had this happen with me before. The power has to be turned off at the main breaker.
Mm-hmm.
The gas line, I guess, maybe when the gas comes in, has to be turned to off.
I believe so.
And
I believe so,
water, I
but,
don't know what to do with the water.
BLM will get the house ready for it.
So BLM will
Yeah,
provide that.
they'll send their field service guys out there and make the house ready for the electric to come in. ready for the gas to come in, ready for the water to come in.
What about I see re-winterization. Who does that?
Re-winterization is BLM. BLM will re-winterize it once you're done with it. Most of the time, though, they will, if say your appraisal is 2 days, 3 days before settlement, which has happened, by the time they get there to do it, you've already settled, so they don't get to re-winterize it, so.
Don't have to.
Yeah, don't have to, yeah. Yeah, I'll get phone calls from them saying, you know, I'm here to re-winterize it, and I'm like, well, it's sold, like the new people have it, so don't go in.
So I guess, you really get into a situation in the winter, so if you have a situation where you get the thing turned on, and it's really cold, the way we've had it, and you know the appraisal is gonna be a couple days down the road, will they just leave it alone at that point? Because you start shutting off the gas and you got a real problem with it.
Yeah, correct. They're very good. BLM is very good with managing their asset managers out here. You know, I want to say there's 3 or 4. Stephanie O'Grady from our office, if you've ever met her, she's actually one of them. But BLM is very good with getting people out there in a timely fashion to make sure that we don't. I've never, in 2.5 years, I've never run into any issues. The only issue I've really run into is a sump pump breaks, or somebody has a home inspection, and the home inspector throws the switch and turns the electric off to the whole house. And you go out to the house a week later, and you know the basement's flooded because he turned the sump pump off.
Right.
Those are really the only issues that I've run into. All right, so we've covered turning that on. Let's watch this guy here.
Have you ever wondered what a HUD home is, who can buy one, and what the process is? Have you ever thought about the benefits of buying a HUD home versus other properties on the market? If so, I have some great information for you that will be extremely beneficial when you're shopping for your next home. My name is Roger Love, and I'm speaking today on behalf of BLB Resources, a HUD housing and urban development asset manager in 14 states in the U.S. There are so many misconceptions of what a HUD home is, but I'm here to separate fact from fiction. First, a HUD home is a 1 to 4 unit residential property acquired by HUD as a result of a foreclosure action on an FHA insured mortgage. HUD becomes the property owner and offers it for sale to recover the loss on the foreclosure claim. Anyone who has the required cash or can qualify for a loan can buy a HUD home. The homes are initially offered to owner-occupant purchasers, which are people who are buying the home as their primary residence. There's an initial priority period specifically for owner-occupants, but after that, unsold properties are available to all buyers, including investors. There are many benefits to purchasing a HUD home. Let me share some of those with you now. Benefit 1, HUD is actually willing to pay up to 3% of the buyer's closing costs. However, that has to be included and negotiated in the contract when you make your bid. And this benefit is only available to owner-occupants. So, if you're an investor, you're not eligible for the closing cost credit. Benefit 2, if a HUD home happens to be a condo, your lender will not require condo project approval, as project approvals aren't required on FHA HUD real estate owned transactions. And there are also no minimum owner occupancy requirements. Benefit 3, if a HUD home needs minor repairs and a buyer is using FHA financing, then the cost of the repairs, up to $10,000 maximum, can be included in their FHA loan. This type of financing is called insured with escrow repair. and it's only available on HUD Home listings that are listed as FHA insured. Benefit 4, all HUD Home